Scanning. Identity authorized. Welcome to the Secret Superhero Club Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Animation Station Podcast. My name is Josh, and today for episode 149, we are joined by a very special guest, Mr. Elijah Bailey. How you doing, man?
I'm good, thank you. Very special. I haven't heard that associated with my name in many years, but thank you. Yeah.
Oh, no problem, man. Well, it was one of those. I've been on 2 of your shows, so, had to repay the favor.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. And those shows were hilarious. They were fun, and I give people shit about them all the time.
See, that's the best. That's the best. All right, so now, Elijah, tell our wonderful listeners a little bit about yourself. Who is? Let's deep dive now. Who is Elijah?
Capricorn with dark brown eyes, long flowing locks, literally,
this
flowing
is true.
Black locks. And I'd like to think of myself as, it's weird because I love animals, and I'm a hawk. I'm always in the sky searching for a new endeavor or something.
Mm-hmm.
So podcaster, martial artist, former musician, because I don't practice anymore. I gave that up. And then lover of games and nerd culture. That's basically who I am in a nutshell. And a fur father, because I have 3 dogs.
Yeah,
that pummel me.
And you say we've got the one show, and then we've got Unlocked. But then you have like 17 and a half shows.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see, where should we start? Blacken Studios, The Black Box is on hiatus. That was the first show that kind of launched everything. It used to be called The Show with No Name because we weren't creative enough to think of a name.
Well, see, that's a good name, The Show with No Name.
And then, after we changed it, we're like, dude, we should have went back. And Richard was like, I already drew a black box. And I was like, we're just sticking with it. Then, because we were getting more people coming to the studio and wanting to record, Rich was like, dude, I know you want to do a podcast. You should host your own podcast and not just be like a co-host, just take control. And then that pretty much spiraled into the Elijah Bailey Show, which is a jack of all trades show. We talk about all pop culture. Then a little bit of anime. It's just an anime-specific podcast. I did Hoya the Warrior Way for a long time. And that show is... I say hiatus, but I think we're finally done with that show.
Oh.
I'm not sure yet because I don't know what my co-host is doing, but that was more of getting to dive in my martial arts side, getting into kinesiology, and then also like mental health. We talked about, I think the last couple of shows were depression, anxiety, how to relieve stress, how to manage time and be more efficient. And what else? I just got brought on as a producer for Candy Dinner, which is a podcast out in California with Iffy Waterway. I used to produce the Krillnet podcast, which was a Dragon Ball Z podcast. And I'm trying to think. I think that's it for now, but there are some other ones that are in the works. I know there's one that we talked about before the show that I have no idea what it's titled, but I will be voicing Al Simmons, aka Spawn, for a Spawn read-through. So that is the world. That's where 5,000 came from. When I say it's Elijah 5,000, I have 5,000
because there's 5,000 things that I'm doing. Yeah,
exactly.
So you've got a little bit of anime. You've got the Elijah Bailey Show. You sometimes do the SPM.
Yeah, the Superpower Movie Podcast. Yeah. Forgot about that one because we're on hiatus because John Stone, my co-host, bought a house, so he's moving. But that's all comic book, live action, animated films. And then just a lot of bullshit between me and Sam. That's just basically it.
So why, like, what was so special about, a little bit of anime, and like SPM, and then like, all these other, like, what was so special about that? Why'd you want to go and talk about those?
That was a little bit anime spurred. Monica came on like our 23rd or 26th podcast, and we wanted to have a voice actress on the show and kind of get him that, like, let's have some guests on the show. And then Monica's been doing this forever. We're both friends with Monica. Let's get her take because we just get to hear the dubbing. We don't know any of the stuff behind the scenes. When she was on the show, I was like, you know what? You should have your own podcast. And then we named it A Little Bit of Anime. And then, God, like maybe 6 months later, A Little Bit of Anime became a thing because we both love anime. And I wanted to dive in and learn more on the voice acting side from Monica. And then just like watch new anime. Because I was like, dude, I'm getting to that place where, what do I want to watch today? Cowboy Bebop again. What do I want to watch today? Trigun again. What do I want to watch?
Just watching the same things over and over.
Yeah, so this was a way to force me to watch more anime and then dive into the world of the industry. So, because I know we talked to, I think our first guest was Marissa Lenti, who came on and got us on Nanbaka and some other anime, and I was like, dude, this is what the show should be about. So instead of let's just making it like two friends hanging out talking about anime, let's actually like collect more friends through this podcast. And now it's we're broadcasting on Twitch, and we're getting new friends, new followers that are talking to us constantly about like we're having anime polls and battles every day. But the love for anime is what spurred that one. Superpowered Stone, I don't even know what brought that up. I think I was just like, dude, we need to talk about comics. Like, I haven't been reading that many comics. I just bought 250. Give me a month to go through these comics, and then let's go ahead and break this down, because I think I was looking towards Richard's son, Caden. Like, if I had a kid, what knowledge do I want to pass on to them? There's good stories and good lessons, and sometimes it's just a stress relief to read comics. Same thing with anime. Same thing with video games. So the more knowledgeable I am, the more I can incorporate life lessons into the things that I sometimes take for granted, or things that are fun. And that's how I taught martial arts as well. Like, if you like music, if you like sports, if you liked Dora the Explorer, there's some way for me having knowledge about it, we can communicate this as something that can help you progress in martial arts and in life as well. So. Yeah.
Oh, man. So let's kind of... let's bring you on the anime side, since this is the animation station.
Yeah.
We'll bring you on that anime. So, what was your first anime? Like, what got you into anime?
Okay, the first anime was Speed Racer.
All right.
What got me into anime was
it when they were driving next to each other, and then like he'd knock a car and then it would like fly off, but it would still be right next to them with the explosion, even though it was supposed to go like 100 miles an hour?
That's a close second. It was the monkey in the trunk. That's what got me, because Michael Jackson had a monkey. They had a monkey. I was like, dude, this is perfect. But really, when I found out what anime was is when Dragon Ball, like Little Goku, was on Sci-Fi before it got on Toonami, or before I found it on Toonami.
I remember those what did they call their Sci-Fi? It was something very clever, but they always had like good different anime on. Yeah. Like they had oh god, I don't know. Trying to think now. I was like, I know what it's called, but I know what it is, but I don't know what it's called.
I don't even remember. Like, I remember seeing Goku fighting Yajirobe. That was the very first episode I saw in Dragon Ball. And then at that time, for whatever reason, they started it all the way back at the beginning, where he's on the mountain and he's kicking the wood, and then he goes to get the fish and he's peeing in the water in the lake. But the one between him and Yajirobe, I was like, this is weird. This kid looks like because I was in martial arts, he's like, he's in shape and he's fighting this bigger guy. This guy's going to be a brute. Yajirobe was fast. He had reflexes. He had like Wolverine type senses at the time. I was like, you know what? I want to watch this again. So I looked at the clock. I think it was like 4:30 or 4 o'clock. I was like, I'll just come home tomorrow and see what's on again. Started over, and I was like, dude, I got to get back to that episode. Maybe this is like the 4th episode. So I'll watch 4 episodes, and I'll get back to him fighting this beast guy. And then turns out it's like towards the end of the series, and it just captured me. I was like, I never knew that there were shows or anime about martial arts, and I'm heavily into martial arts. So I got to get on this ride, and I got to continue it and see where it takes me, which has taken me all the way to Super and the Broly film.
Yeah. So Little Dragon Ball first. And honestly, so when people ask and be like, you big fan of Dragon Ball Z? I was like, I like Dragon Ball more than I like Dragon Ball Z.
The humor is spot on.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, my boy Yamcha. He's there, and
potential.
then he's just like not there in DVC. They're like, let's just kill him, and you're like, oh, okay, well, bye, friend.
Yeah, it's like we killed Krillin last time. Chaozu committed suicide. Let's give Yamcha a turn. He's gonna die from a hug. But before that, we saw him jump into a crowd of baseball players. Like, it's a lot of weird stuff they did with Yamcha.
Yeah, I don't know what they do with him. It's just I don't know. He's like a punching bag, and it's sad because I'm like, oh, not poor Yamcha.
If you have a character with scars on their face, they have to be badass. That's like a rule. And he was a bandit, but his downfall was girls. And I don't know. Yamcha, he let me down.
He did, yeah. It hurts.
But I will play with him in any of the games, just because that's disrespectful. Like, everybody shits on Yamcha, and then you get beat up by Yamcha. It's like, dude, this is horrible. It's like, well, you should do something with your life then. Probably practice as Yamcha until the end.
Oh god. It sucks that he wasn't included in Super. I mean, I'm just like, man, he's like one of the strongest humans, though.
It was, yeah. That's
Plus,
all I'm
he
gonna
has
say.
he has like the coolest attack ever. Freaking Wolf Fang Fist. I mean, that's like
catches people off guard.
Yeah, they're like, wait,
nasty
what was that?
scratches, and then it's just like you embody. I think he was the only one besides Master Roshi. Like Tien and Chaozu came from the Crane Hermit, so they did their Crane stance. But Master Roshi, when he was fighting King Piccolo, embodied some animals as well, and they kind of showed the silhouette of him. But Yamcha was one that stuck with that the entire time. Tien and Chaozu went on. Tien got a big chest and a big back and just started punching people hard. Chaozu, again, killed himself on people. And Yamcha was like, yeah, I'm going to use the Wolf Fang Fist again. Even when his Spirit Ball attack, you could see like some of those same movements, and that captures me because of Kung Fu in its essence. But yeah, they let him down. They let Piccolo down too.
Yeah. Sad. So what else besides like Dragon Ball? Like what was another one that like really stuck with you?
Another one that really stuck with me that was early in the day was Samurai Pizza Cats.
Dude.
That was always funny.
Oh god, Samurai Pizza Cats.
Because you turn to the Hanna-Barbera and you'd be watching SWAT Cats. But Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho, anything at that time that was I used to watch westerns with my mom, so I love westerns. So Trigun hit the spot, especially gunplay. But then you get into Yu Yu Hakusho, which is more martial arts, but it's got a paranormal, supernatural aspect to it. That intrigued me as well, because like, who's going to be stronger? And he's like, Kurobaro's just this goof, and then he becomes like a really, really main character. Same thing with Hiei and Kurama getting turned from bad guys to good guys. That kind of captured. But then Gundam Wing, there's something about being in like a big robot and just like people are dying. But it's just the aspect you're in a robot. It's cool. It's something that you always wanted because you played with those same toys. You had I had Transformers years before, so that one got me. And they always played Gundam Wing Endless Waltz all the time, in the day, at night. So it just cycled through, and that one stuck as well. Those were the two. I think Dragon Ball Z and then Gundam Wing were staples for Toonami.
Yeah, like they were definitely the big launchers.
And then I think after that, Rurouni Kenshin was on during the day.
There was always a Tenchi on. There was
Tenchi.
Always Tenchi. There was like Tenchi for like 3 years. You always had a Tenchi. And then at night, you always had Inuyasha. You had Inuyasha for like 7 years straight. Yeah, like every night between like 11 and midnight, and then they moved it midnight and once. Like you always had Tenchi Muyo. Inuyasha. Inuyasha
has like 25 seasons. There's so many movies, so many seasons, so many arcs. And it was. I never got bored of Inuyasha.
Right? It's like I don't know how many times I rewatched that series over and over and over, so I can tell you exactly where they're going. Yeah. Like, oh, this episode. Oh, well, that means in like 4 episodes they're gonna meet Koga of the Wolf Demon Tribe, and then
Koga.
After that, then you're gonna meet and it's just like, oh yeah, this is where Kagura of the Wind dies and Shishomaru cries, and you're like, oh no, yeah. So
God, dude,
that was sad. That was sad. Like when Kagura went, I was like, oh man.
Like I don't know. What
and she just wanted to be with Shishomaru that last time. I was like, oh no.
And it was it's just so telling, that show, because I wanted to learn Japanese. So we talked to Wakana down at Tamashi, and she said, and we had her on before. She said the way that she learned is listening to American songs and watching TV. And so I had, Japanese 101 and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I was like, well, what shows do I know by heart that I'm going to go back and take the subs off and just listen? And Inuyasha's one of them, and Rurouni Kenshin. And then I was like, I can't do Dragon Ball because I've done that too many times. So Cowboy Bebop. Those 3 are my Japanese learning series, but they're just so compelling. Like Kagome and Inuyasha's story, her reluctancy to push her feelings on him, and then like kind of taking a side step to that and saying, I just want to be strong in this world, I just want to help. And the Inuyasha learning that his human side is what dictates more what he does, more so than the demon side, even though his ultimate goal is to be fully demon, just so he can be accepted. It's phenomenal. I like the story. I love the drive. I love the characters. And Koga's just funny as hell. That rivalry between him and Inuyasha.
It's like the most one-sided rivalry ever, because
It is.
it's just like, yeah, I'm here, and I'm going to run really fast with my tornado legs.
But, I mean, she looked into his eyes when he was carrying her. She, like, looked up at him like, he's kind of cute. I ride on Inuyasha's back, but he carries me, so... And then you have Sango.
Because then it's like piggyback or princess style, you know? It's like,
there we go, yeah.
Which one?
I'm a piggyback kind of guy. I ask my wife to piggyback me all the time. She says no, and I mean, it hurts for a while, but I get over it. But I keep trying. One day.
Never give up, never surrender. I mean, that's like the quote of quotes right there.
Nice
It's like
quote.
always.
Was it Galaxy Quest?
Yep.
Yes.
That may or may not have been my senior quote. So, just because I was like, I'll put it in there, no one will get it.
Dude, I don't know what my senior quote was. I don't think I had one. I think I was like the guy that's like, I don't want to quote. I don't even want to go to graduation. Just let me know I've graduated so I can get out of here.
Well, we only had 9 people in our graduating class, so we kind of had to go.
Jeez.
And they were very much like, what are you doing? What song are you playing? What are you wearing? Like, you got to do that. You got to do this, got to do this, got to do this.
Dang. That is
not fun.
How many people were in your school?
72 in the high school.
Ooh.
And that included 6th and up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wish we kind of switched a little bit because in my school we had a lot of people. I think 460 something, 480 something graduating class. I don't even know how many in the school. But I went to Edmond Santa Fe, so
I went to Little Bitty Liberty Academy.
Liberty.
Yeah. Little bitty small school.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, it was fine. Lot of forcing stuff down your throats, though. You know. Be a little Christian school. It's like, no, you do this, and you're like, but no. You're
it's
like, okay.
like, I'm going to take what you're saying, going to digest that. I'm not going to say what I'm saying right now because I know you're going to come back at me.
Exactly.
Just think that I'm thinking like you, but in all reality, I'm not.
Exactly.
Not
it's one of those where you're like, well, I have questions, so I'm just going to ask other people.
Exactly. These
Instead
are not
of
the
you
questions
guys.
that I'm trying to ask today.
Oh man. So, like, what else? I mean, you're big into video games. So, like, what was like one of your video games you really liked growing up? Like, what was your jam?
Before I met Richard, I love Mario. I mean, as most people, and then I would try to do cartoon games, and I'm kind of the same way. So there was Tom and Jerry games. There was, I think there was an Adam Ant game. Stretch Armstrong, when he had a cartoon, I got that for Nintendo as well. And then when I met Richard was when PlayStation came out. I finally got one, and he introduced me to imports. So again, it reinforced that love. It was a final bout for Dragon Ball GT. It was Gundam Battle Assault 1 and 2, and we just go to each other's house, pop the lid up, put the spring in, put the jack in the back. You have your disc, and then take that out, put the other one in, and you could play it. And you would think that I would have learned some Japanese, but I just know which button.
Yeah, which button to press.
Yeah, does which, and so. From cartoons and Mario to more anime-centric games, and then it's just like little stuff. And I say little stuff, just like things caught my eye, like Zone of Enders. I was at Blockbusters walking through, and I was like going all the way through, like, ooh, I want to do this, and then oh, Bloody Roar, and oh, this, and then I saw Zone of Enders. I was like, that's cool. That's another mech. So let me go ahead and try that out, and then played the first one. And I was waiting so long for Blockbusters to get the second one or get it back from whoever rented it, so I could play the next one. That just took over, and I started looking, Devil May Cry, Final Fantasy, started looking anything that had a very unique cover. Brute Force, like the big muscle guy in the back, another guy, and then 2 girls. Like, is this a team of 4 people that you can play together? Is it 2? Is it co-op? Is it just individual? And so those are the ones that kind of grip me. Just not a whole bunch of it was a good mix of AAA titles, and then like kind of
a lot of more indie stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say, like, my first, like, because I mean, I had a Super Nintendo growing up, and so like I played like RoboCop. I didn't have a lot of good games. I had like RoboCop versus Terminator, Double Dragons versus Ninja Toads, Battletoads.
I got that too.
I had the Lion King game.
Hard as hell. We did on handheld.
I don't know if you can beat that game. I've never. I don't know. It's to me, it's impossible.
There's no ending
at
all.
Because like when and then you'll sometimes get like that weird level where you're like Pumbaa and like they're dropping things and you're like, I don't know how I got here, but I did.
And now,
but I don't. And now I'm stuck here.
Exactly.
And
this is no longer fun.
Exactly.
I'm done with this. I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just like, I'm so confused. Like the farthest I got was like there were hyenas, and I think that was the farthest I've ever gotten.
We got to the same spot, and then I was like, done.
Because like you're like in a pit, and there's like 3 hyenas, and you're just like, what am I supposed to do? I can't jump on them because they kill me. I can't stand because they'll kill me. What am I supposed to do? I
let
roar?
Them kill you.
Do I just let them kill me and then start all over? That's the game.
Yeah. That was. I remember playing that with my cousin Joel. I'm like, dude, I don't like this game anymore. I don't want to play it anymore. They had one for God, what was it? Aladdin. Aladdin was tough as well. Magic carpet ride, lava coming up.
You can't. I couldn't get past the magic carpet ride bit. It's just like, no, I'm done. I'm stuck here.
I just live vicariously through my friends that have said they've beat it, but I've never witnessed it.
Yeah, same. It's like, oh no, yeah, we beat Lion King. Be like, no, you haven't. There's no proof. There's no proof anywhere that you've beat it.
The developer said this game is not finished, so you're definitely lying.
Yeah, like, and then like I had an N64. Like the only thing I really ever remember playing on it was Smash Brothers. Had a PS2. Broke Kingdom Hearts. Then I don't think I really played anything else on it. Then I got an Xbox, and then that was Halo kind of started it, and that's where I was. Because like when I got a 360 and I was able to play on the Xbox Live, that's like the majority of my video game. Like history is playing Halo with my friends and playing asshole tactics where we would get 5 people and then we would go on a 4v4. So one of us would be on the other team. And I always, because it was usually the last person to join. And so I always wanted to join last so I could be that person. And whenever there was a vehicle, I was like, I get in the vehicle, I'd drive over to one of my friends, they'd hop in the back, and I would drive them to my team. Because I can see them on the radar.
Exactly.
So I'd be like, all right, kill them. And then if they killed me, I'm like, well, that's a team kill. You can't team kill. I'm gonna boot you. You know? And just like telling me like, all right, guys, they're over here. Yeah. And you're just like, just come this way.
Halo was that unifier for everybody. There's so many things you could do. I just got off on being a streak killer. I think that came into play. Like we had a Jump Force tournament recently, and I killed Leon Streak. And then he came back to win the whole tournament. It's BS. But, like, my cousin Josh, that's where he learned how to no-scope and took that into Call of Duty and everything else he played. But I got the best kills, though. I was like, I was horrible at sniping, but I sniped him close range in the face. I'd kill him with pistols. I would stick him with the grenades, frag grenades, sticky grenades, like whatever it is. That was my whole fun whenever I was playing with my friends. Like, let me just mess up somebody's streak. Let me just mess up what someone's doing.
Just only go for that one person who's got the streak and be like, I know where he's at. I'm gonna go kill him.
Exactly.
See, mine was like, I'm terrible at, like if it's against an AI, totally fine. I can beat the game on legendary. It'll be great. Yeah. But if it's real person, because I don't know how they think, I can't do that. Like I'm so bad. So the thing that I learned how to drive in Halo. That is where I learned how to do all of my driving. So like
whip out and hit him with the back.
Oh man, just like there would be, levels where Brady would be on the back and he would get like 25 kills, and I would just get 25 Wilmans and be like 0 kills, 0 deaths, 25 Wilmans. Because they'd be like, yeah, because I know what like the speed that we need to do to not flip. Like use that brake all the time.
Yes. The Warthog is very tricky.
Oh my goodness! Like, and then that's the reason people flip is because they don't use that brake. I'm like, you gotta use that brake when you're about to hit that thing. Just brake just a tad, you'll be fine. You'll land right up. Dude. And so like I learned all the nuances, and that helped me in GTA. So like whenever we did GTA, it should be like, oh, I'll just more driving, and so I just did all the driving stuff. So yeah, like I like that's the type of stuff I like. And then then there's like other stuff like Fable, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's a sword.
I got into Fable for a while because I think I really got into Fable when I met my wife, because she is a Smash Bro champ. Her and her sister, like that made me put the game down. But now in my later years, I'm like, if you want to play, we can just go in there. And she's like, I'm done. I'm retired. But when we got into Fable, I was like, dude, got to get. We did Fable, Baldur's Gate, back into Diablo because I started Diablo on PC, and then skipped ahead and went to Diablo 3 straight on 360, and just got into that world. But Fable was one that was just. It has its own life to it. It makes you feel like it's a different game than anything that you ever played. And I think there's another one getting ready to come out. I didn't play the one for Kinect, but I thought there was.
I don't know. I think that got scrapped because the whole studio.
Oh yeah.
Because
that's
like
right.
Xbox or Microsoft bought Lionhead, and then they just kind of like dissolved it.
You're done. Yeah, that's right.
Because they were making one, and then they were just like, no, forget it, we're done. And they're like, oh. Well, that was during that craze when, like, everyone was like, okay, so it's going to be, like, 4 people versus a boss. That whole thing. And you're like, okay, I mean, that sounds all right, but, I mean, there's, like, 17 games like that.
Exactly, yeah.
And none of them have really done anything. Except for that killer one. Where it's, like, Dead by Daylight. Where it's, like, 4 people. And then there's, like, a killer, and they have to escape. And so, like, that's, like, the only one that I know that's, like, done anything. And then there's this new one that's like almost like Dead by Daylight, except it's like kids, like 4 kids trapped in a school, and then like there's a killer who's like in the school, and they gotta like escape.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, those are the only 2 that I know of that have actually done anything, because they had that big monster one that everyone was hyped on, and then just completely died.
Crapped out.
Yeah,
dude.
So because it's just it's too much for one person to do. It's like one person can't be the enemy. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, well, no, yeah.
It's just hard. It's just too hard. Yeah. So what type of comics? So I mean, I know Spawn possibly.
Yeah.
But
a little bit of Spawn. I started comics at the we had this gas station down in Anadarko called they changed the name. I think it's just like a quick stop, and they had little comics in there, and I had gotten some before, but Sonic the Hedgehog was one that I was definitely like. Sonic's the reason I eat chili dogs today. To this day, chili dogs are my favorite kind of dog, fully dressed, mustard, ketchup. But after that, it was like, well, I like fast characters, so the Flash, and then you start looking like, okay, well, there's other people that are fast but have other powers, and that kind of drove me towards Superman. I watched the old black and white live action Superman. I watched the old cartoon, but it still didn't really appeal to me until, he got his, like, a new set of powers, which Superman does. The original Superman was basically an everyday man Superman that, like, handled small crimes. Well, this Superman is racing the Flash now. He's super fast. He can fly, like super fast flying, super fast running. He's super strong. And then that kind of led to Batman. And I was like, oh, okay, another martial artist. So let's start going down this road and seeing who's there. But X-Men have always been really big with me. Green Lantern, especially, like, I went from really being interested in Hal to John Stewart, and that's a lot of it has to do with representation, seeing other characters like you. And then once I got on John Stewart, it was Static Shock, even though most of his comics have fallen through, they end up canceling them for whatever reason. Which I feel like if you just get, I always say that if you get the right person, you can tell that story of Virgil. But I guess since they had Black Lightning, they didn't really have to focus so much on a kid that has which
sucks, because like I loved that Static Shock TV series with Phil Lamar.
Yeah,
like,
that was
and
really
when
good.
he was on, like, we talked about that, and I was like, dude, that was a good series. Like, it didn't last as long as it should have.
Yeah.
Like, because I think they only got like 2 or 3 seasons. Like, that could have been like 5 or 6, man.
Yeah, if it was 3 seasons, it was right after like Richie discovered he had powers and he was helping Static, and they had like a little tiff, and then it's just like gone from the face of the earth.
And you're like, oh. Well, that kind of sucks, but I mean, it's on the DC universe thing still. Now, so like it's I put it in my little queue thing because I'm like, I want to rewatch Static Shock. Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, there's so much stuff to watch on there. Yeah, like I'm waiting for Young Justice to finish so we can do all of Young Justice again.
Stone has been telling me, and that show when that came out, when Young Justice came out, it was. It was just so good. The artwork was good. The voice acting was good. The story was good. And then the double crosses and the turns.
Yeah.
And then it's like, dude, this isn't like, I don't even know. Maybe it was in the second season. I was like, this, I don't know why I haven't said this before or thought of this, but this isn't a cartoon for kids. Like, there's a lot of adult themes in here, like pregnancy and everything else. So, like, why did they, like, and then that's like right around the time they cancel, like, why they cancel it? There's so much that can be done here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
See, it like, to me, it's one of those. Oh God, I hate that car so much.
Sounds like my car.
And what's worse, this will do nothing. Just like
Just a little bit, yeah. But yeah, I was kind of DC heavy for a while, and then a lot of cartoons got me into more comics because I always knew of Spider-Man. I read his stuff, and I was like, it's okay, and he's swinging and everything else. But then the more that I saw, like, I think the first probably 5 episodes of the Spider-Man animated series, I was like, well, maybe I need to go back, because it was hard because my mom was a single mother, and she was leaving me in Anadarko with my grandparents to come up to the city and work, and then send money, and she'd come down on the weekends, and then when she could afford an apartment, we moved up here. And I remember these conversations all the time. I was like, man, can I get this? Can I get that? And it's like, no, not right now, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, Drew has it. Well, if you want to be Drew, go over there and ask his parents if you can stay over with Drew, or you can do this, because otherwise you're going to have to wait until you can get it. Ninja Turtles was another one. Like, and I didn't get to read, like, I think I got to read 2 of those comics before Mom was like, hey, you don't need to read these.
Yeah,
there's blood and stuff.
They're a little bit bloody,
and that's when,
which I love the fact that, everyone's like, yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles now are like, these goofball idiots.
Yeah,
but like back then it was like, no,
ninjas,
they were ninja killers, guys.
They stab people in the face, cut off arms, and they go back and eat pizza with a giant rat in the sewers, and they love that life. That's their life. That's the life they want to be. Vigilantes around the city. And she kind of replaced comics with action figures. So anybody that I hadn't seen, I get those action figures. And then, like, later on, they started doing like the dual action figure in comics. So it opened up even more into Doctor Strange. And I mean, it just kind of, which I know is your favorite.
Oh yeah,
Marvel
I love
character.
Doctor Strange.
But
when I go to the gym, I run around like this the entire time. That's what I do.
Yeah, he's like sitting there dancing.
So bad.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But yeah, like, comics, it's that connective tissue, because comics, like, there's not that many good video games. We have the 64 Superman game, which made me want to throw away my 64, because before then on Sega you had like a whole bunch of X-Men. I think there was Batman and Robin.
Yeah, there was Batman and Robin.
There's just like Spider-Man had several games, and it kind of tied that thread a little bit. Like, when they're not fighting crime, or how do they fight crime, or different crime? Like, what if we have like a big villain? What if this is a world threat or city crime? And it's got different perspectives. So it's like, well, I wish they'd do that in a video game. Then you're in the video game, and like, you're kind of limited with Sega. But once you started getting up to PlayStation, you're like, man, I wonder what else is going on. And my mind always thinks in the background, like, if I'm doing something, I have to have music on. I have to have at least one other thing going to make my workspace in my mind like very compartmental. So when I'm thinking about reading the comics, I'm also thinking about the game, and then thinking about what's happening in the animation, or what could be happening out there for that character, to give that character more growth and development. So I got off of comics for a little bit, but went back to them very easily, because it's just so liberating to read somebody else's creativity. And I think I really got real hardcore when Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder started writing for Batman. That I was like,
was that the Detective Comics one, or was that the Batman run?
The Batman runs, like the Court of Owls and
oh yeah
and all that. And I even bought my father-in-law the whole deal of Court of Owls. He's like, man, I've been waiting for this. And I was like, hey, I got you. Your birthday's coming up. I'll get you the 75th anniversary. But then I was like, man, what other stories have I not read since I've been off? And just going back and rereading, like, Hush, which I keep telling Richard to read. I was like, he's
not read Hush?
No.
Bro.
Richard has
tell him Josh said to, and he'll be like, who? But tell him that Josh said that he needs to read Hush, because DC announced that it's coming out this year, or at least part 1 is. And I'm like,
And it's gonna be so.
Freaking
I was
dope.
like, they're like the Quarter Owls showed me a different side of Batman, but it showed me like a different art with Batman. He wasn't as big. He was more kind of like what they did with Goku and Vegeta when they hit God mode. The slim and kind of like a streamlined, athletic build, but the main deal that helps him is not only his intelligence, but his ability to be flexible and mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just speaks to more of Batman's adaptability. But I was like, to think of this deal that's been here, the city that Batman has thought that he's known this whole time. He knows nothing really about it because there's a secret society that's been still controlling the city behind his back and under his nose. That's a great storyline.
One would think that the richest man ever would have, like, they would at least have tried to like recruit him previously.
Yeah, at some point in time.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't. So it makes it seem like you've been missing out on what makes your city the city itself, and so that's got to have you feeling like you're out of touch, and that's got to crumble your thought process for what you've been doing this whole time. And he does kind of goes to that place where he kind of breaks and he has to recoup. So I was like, that's phenomenal, and that got me into Year One and some of the other ones that Scott Snyder have been writing for, and just traversing around DC again, because Marvel, I'm more excited about like Kamala Khan doing the Miss Marvel and some of the newer generation, if you will, more so than some of the backstories. I still think that the characters that I grew up in love with have great character devices where they can build, but I want to see what's coming now, because that creativity with long existing characters, they have so much history. It's hard to kind of invent that character, but it's not that hard because you know what their strengths and weaknesses are. But with these new characters, what's going to be their staple? How are they going to be received? And then just a lot more diversity. Even with Carol Danvers, I was talking to somebody about the Pseudoconic run, and then even got my wife on. I was like, I'm not even going to tell you anything about it. If you want to read it, this is where you can read it, because we saw Captain Marvel, and she loved it. I was like, this is better than the previous stuff, and we'll go into the previous stuff.
Her mohawk and her mohawk ears and all that stuff when she got killed by Rogue. Yeah,
I was like, I can't. I was like, if I said Carol Danvers is reeked with havoc and like sexual manipulation and all this other stuff that we don't want to address and talk about, but I said this starts it off at a base place where I feel confident this character can fluctuate either way and still be very dynamic in tone, but grab your attention. I try to get stuff that interests her, because I just now got my wife hardcore
into the comics.
She's like lukewarm into the comics, but anime, like there was a time where she's like, I don't want to watch this, and I don't want to watch Dragon Ball Z because of this. And I was like, you do know the anime that you like to watch is shonen, so I mean you're within that realm, you little boy woman. You love this stuff. And so now she's dabbling more into that. And then I think because I've made some good suggestions for her, she's dabbling more into comics. But I have to just like leave them on the table for her, and then she pick it up whenever you want. Like I think leaving our room on top of her jewelry box is the Infinity Gauntlet. It's just sitting there on top of her sweatpants. So whenever she wants to read it,
it's just sitting there. It's just like, just come and take it.
It was on the bed like 2 days ago, and I was like, no, because she gets disrespectful sometimes. The dogs jump up there, they'll tear this deal up. So let's put it up here, so every time you walk out of the bedroom, you can.
It's like right there.
It's right there in your face. Yeah.
So what do you think about the whole like Disney's take on the Marvel movies? Because we didn't really talk about it too much when you had me on, because we were talking about trash movie. But So what do you really think about like these type of movies, or the way that they're going, and then we'll kind of go into the whole Fox bit.
Okay, so first part is I love the fact that we're getting stuff off the pages in live action, because I always wonder how are they going to make this character feel like the character in the comics, and then how are they going to make it look? It's going to be campy and have the suit. But when Iron Man came out, I was like, dude, I love the suit, I love the armor. If they keep it very subtle, tones aren't too bright, I think this works well, and then give him that attitude. And then some of the changes that are very happy, I would like more of like dire straits. Like I know Thanos was our biggest deal.
That's the problem that I have with these movies. Like there's never a point when any of our characters are ever in danger.
Yeah.
Whereas like on the DC movies, you're like,
they're
oh no, yeah, they're gonna kill somebody now. It's like they killed Superman, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh well, I mean, kind of knew he was gonna die, but you know,
Yeah,
like
somebody's going to die in these films. We know that, but Marvel's like, I wish they would change that because I think it would add more depth to like Captain America transforming to Nomad. That was cool because you see even he's there to fight the good fight, but his demeanor changed. If you had more high risk stakes for him to actually contemplate, that gives you the reality of Steve Rogers. I think this latest run was out, and we talked about it a couple episodes ago. He's contemplating being Captain America. He's like, I've been the captain, I've been Captain America, I've been Nomad, but how can I say that I represent the people if I oppose the government that I'm supposed to be with? And it's like, if they brought that into the Marvel universe with the Sokovia Accord, I think it would have gave it a little bit more depth instead of making it, you know, you're not my friend because you didn't stop your friend from killing my parents.
Yeah. See,
deal.
I wish they would have done. See, my problem is too, like they almost take like a really light approach to everything. Like the beginning of oh shoot,
what Age of Ultron?
Dang it. The first like God, I hate
The first event. What? Which one?
The one where they're what's it called when they're divided? Civil War. Jeez, God.
Okay, yeah.
It took forever. So spoilers for a comic book that came out like 10 to 15 years ago. So I liked the beginning of that of Civil War when it's like showing these cool new young superheroes, and like they're filming like this reality show and be like, we're gonna go get this guy, and this other guy's like, no, and then he ends up blowing up a school bus and a whole bunch of other stuff, and I'm like, that would have been a cool way to start, because then you could have, you know, done something where like, all right, some of these superheroes they do need to be kind of reined in, because that was the whole point of Civil War. It's like, these kids weren't, you know,
they were just
regulated. They were just doing whatever they wanted to, or these superheroes were just doing whatever they wanted to, and it caused a bunch of people to die. So stuff like that does need to kind of be regulated. But what they did in Civil War, were like, oh, they blew up an apartment, and you're like, well, that was literally an accident. I mean, there's no. But you could look at the tape. I mean,
and then they go like, well, this happened in Age of Ultron, or well, the previous film. This happened here. This happened there, and it's like, I mean, because that was one of the first things. Like, they didn't cause that. Nobody else could have handled that. So the collateral damage that you have from that, why not police these other people? Like, we know this is our top 10 criminals list that are on the verge of like world disasters, or they cause so much trouble, whether it's economical or whatever. These are threats. These are the ones that we actually need to watch out for. It's like we're not doing any of that. And then again, Marvel's biggest threat is Tony Stark himself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah. But just like going through that, it's like it would have had more impact. Again, like you said, going back to that, because those kids, they were just school.
They were just going to school,
and there's so many of them that died. And that whole conversation between Tony and that mother, because she's like, yeah, my son was in that building, and then I think some Wakandans got killed as well, which drew back Black Panther in. And then there was a second attack that actually killed his father. But it's like, if you give it depth, like what happened, like collateral damage for adults, you're like, okay, they were driving, they were doing this, there's no way around it. But with the kids and families that are here, because you have negligent superheroes that just want to, like, I know the manager wanted to boost ratings, but they want to make a name for themselves going after it. But that's something that needs to be addressed.
And going after a dude who had like PTSD too.
Yeah.
And who is volatile in himself. And I'm just like, maybe y'all should have paid a little bit of attention there. But
and then even with the deal between the Punisher, when they bring him into the underground and he kills, and Cap's like, this is why we can't trust him, and he gets super pissed, and the Punisher's like, you know, this is what you guys set up to do.
You hired me to do this. Like, this is what I'm here for.
And then he has like a moment where he's like breaking in his heart because he idolizes Steve Rogers. Then there's so much stuff that goes back and forth with him. Those dynamics, I think, would actually transform the MCU into like a mega comic almost conglomerate because you would get every aspect of it. It wouldn't be complete doom and gloom, but there are stakes. There are people that are anti-heroes. You do have heroes. You do have villains. And we need to make sure that we get the line straight so people know, what to do. And even like, I think they just did Doom Patrol.
Yeah.
And I was like, Doom Patrol's cool. To go around and think about that aspect. And I think there was one with Alan Tudyk that got canceled. And he was Batman. He was like a Wayne. He was Wayne's cousin, Bruce Wayne's cousin. And he had a company as well. Can't remember the name of the show because it wasn't. It was. Now I'm blanking.
Yeah,
but to show like the repercussions of what happens, which kind of went into Spider-Man: Homecoming. They're picking up all the shrapnel and scrap and the alien tech. Like, show what happens to the everyday man based off of what's going on. Show what happens. Why these stakes are so high for the comic book characters. Show why each individual on this planet, no matter if they have abilities or not, needs to be worried about what's happening. That draws you in as a crowd, and I think that'd make it so much more compelling. So these 22 films cohesively have a tone like, this is why we have these heroes, because the threat reaches out everywhere. Now, Spider-Man was doing giving a lady her purse, getting a bike, but then he had to step up and do the Vulture, and that was I think they need more. I think they need to pull from the comics a little bit more than Disney trying to.
Well, see, they're trying to make popcorn movies and movies that are going to appeal to a lot of people to make a lot of money, which is smart. I mean, financially, yeah, you're doing the right thing. But I mean, as comic book movies, I don't feel like they're comic book movies. Whereas like DC takes the complete opposite approach. They're like, we're going to make a comic book movie for comic book fans, and then other people can see it too. That's basically what they do. Yeah. And I'm like, I kind of dig that approach a little bit more. I mean, do they make questionable decisions? Yes, they do.
But I still want to see it. Yeah.
Exactly. Like Shazam, I'm like, if I'm gonna go see any Captain Marvel film, I'm gonna go see Shazam. Mainly because like I don't like what they're doing with like going back in the past type of thing. Like for Captain America, that works. Because you're like, well, his whole thing is he's from started,
the past and frozen.
But I mean, like, you could have done Captain Marvel. You could have made it 2016.
Yeah,
you didn't have to make it 1994 and then shove a bunch of Blockbuster and Radio Shack references down everybody's throats.
And Sam Jackson didn't. It was like a completely different person. Like, it's like, I know people change over the course of time, but
he lost an eye, and that like took all of his personality away.
Yeah, it wasn't Chewie in the film. It was Goose. Yeah, Goose was the cat instead of Chewie. Yeah, he lost his eye, and then didn't want to tell anybody how it happened. I was like, that I could understand that. You get black eye. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna confirm or deny that I was hit or I was kicked, but something happened.
Yeah. It's like, I fell down the stairs and hit a doorknob. Is that how's that how it goes?
She didn't hit me again.
Oh man, like stuff like that. I'm just like, but I mean Shazam. I'm like, I'm gonna go see Shazam because it's also like that's a comic book type of thing. I mean, like the whole, just like story of it's a 14-year-old kid who.
Finds this creepy old man
and puts a cape on and just Shazam and boom, he becomes the superhero. It's like, what kid doesn't want to be a superhero, especially when
And Levi portrays him correct. Like, he's excited about having powers because he's not an adult. And like, how would you handle that? Because every kid wanted to have superpowers, reading comics or playing a game or watching anime. They wanted to be that character. So how would they handle that if they were able to have this adult body? And then I think that I was kind of pissed because I was looking at Warren. I was like, I want to go up to the balcony, but I think Shazam's in 4D here in Oklahoma now. So I want to go and see it that way because I don't know how they could.
Well, I heard the Warren's like gone downhill since. And
Regal?
So, yeah.
Regal's point system is bullshit. Like, you want a small popcorn? 10,000 points. Like, you only get 10,000 points by watching 100 movies. Like, okay. Or you want this t-shirt? It's 150,000 points. Like, that makes no sense.
That's why I do AMC. Like, I just go to this one right here. Because, I mean, it's like 5 minutes away. Plus, it's like, I go there and, like, if I watch, like, 3 movies, I'm going to get $5. Yeah. So then I'll be like, all right. So then I can get, like, a free drink or a free popcorn or something like that. So I mean, yeah, that's why I do that. But I was listening to an episode of the Rooster Teeth podcast, and they had Zachary Levi on.
Yeah.
And he was talking, and he sounds so genuine about this movie.
Oh yeah, he's stoked about it.
And like he was talking, and he's like, yeah, it's kind of like Big, but there's never been a time like in any of these type of like a kid becomes like 13 going on 30 or Big or something like that, where your kid and your adult exist in the same universe. So like in one scene he can be kid, next scene he can be adult, and then vice versa. He's like, that's what makes it cool. And I was sitting there listening to it, and I'm like, if I was on the fence about wanting to watch Shazam, listening to him talk about Shazam would push you over the edge. Yeah. So that's a fun one. If you guys don't think you want to go see Shazam, go listen to the Rooster Teeth podcast with Zachary Levi. Yeah, go check that.
Old Chucky.
Do it.
Did you see they're doing a Chucky remake?
No, I don't like Chucky. See, that was Chucky was the reason I don't like horror movies, because I saw that when I was maybe about 4, and I used to have in my closet a big, huge cardboard box full of stuffed animals. And so
he's sitting in there lurking, isn't he?
Well, no, there was it's also kind of like the same reason why I don't like Sesame Street, because I don't know why, but there was a big Grover puppet, like full-size Grover, like in that box, and he was just like there, and like I was digging for a toy one day, and then there was this big Grover, and it scared the crap out of me, because like it was just like an arm, so I pulled the arm, and then like his mouth is open and his eyes are all big, and I'm like, nope.
I get that. Like, Chucky scared me because my cousin was babysitting me, and she's like, yeah, you want to watch this movie? It's about a doll. And she knew it was a horror film.
See, that's mean.
Dude, I was in the kitchen. Like, I remember she was watching me and my mom, and I think my aunt or my grandma or somebody, because we used to live in the house all together. And they were coming back like, what are you doing? I might have even been crying in the kitchen. I was like, Vanessa turned on this scary movie, and it's this doll, and he's going to get me. And I had like a shit ton of toys everywhere. So the next thing I know, like my aunt was, she's in the military. I think she was in Mississippi or something. And she came, they were moving up here to Oklahoma or moving back, and she brought a Chucky doll. She's like, yeah, everybody's in, and they had this whole run of Chucky dolls. Dude, I threw that sumbitch away. I threw him in the trash. I fucking punched him in the face. I was doing all kinds of stuff.
Just like bury it outside.
Exactly.
Like burn it, bury the ashes, and then pee on it. It's just like, I don't want any of this.
But like after that, like growing, like it didn't turn me off of scary movies because I was still on Hellraiser and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just like the doll was like not that far from my height. And it's like, no, because you think like, oh, adults, they're slow. Like the only one that's fast is Michael Myers, and he can walk, speed walk, whatever. But I was like, I can get away from the rest of these deals somehow. But Chucky's like right there with me, and he's supposed to be your best friend. I hated that. But then when I started going out, just dating, like, oh, well, scary movies, that's a good way to get a girl to lean up on you. Bam, oh, I got you. You know, you okay, don't worry about it. So that changed it around. And then me and my wife love horror and sci-fi because I fell in love with aliens. And
like, see, like that type of stuff, like sci-fi horror, I can do. But like, if it's like demons and shit, like I can't do demons.
Dude.
Like Paranormal Activity.
Cause like you get this feel like this like on edge.
Yeah, you're just like, well, that I can't stop. I can't like if it's like a zombie, it's like it's gonna be one of those slow, stupid zombies. I could be okay. If it's a killer, I could possibly do something, get away from a Jason type of thing.
But the devil and the demon.
Exactly. If it's an invisible demon that can possess me when I'm asleep. No, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm out of it.
Yeah, it's like I can't do.
Again, I know.
Like aliens, like I saw Ripley. She puts that thing in. You found out that they all is. Yeah, it's fine. You can get away from the aliens.
I know Supernatural is ending after this 15th season, but just sleep with rock salt on your body.
Oh yeah,
a cross on your forehead, and like, get some tattoos. Something.
I did the whole thing because I watched Supernatural forever.
Mm-hmm.
When they went into like the new house or whatever, when they were redoing, somebody bought their old house, and they were like, do the whole lemon thing. You put a lemon out, and you do that. It was like whenever I came to this apartment, I was like,
did the same
lemon. I was like, let it do its thing, and it didn't like rot or anything like that. I was like,
so
okay, no evil demons. We're all right.
That some superstitions are just there for play, but that like
I do have a thing of Morton salt that is unopened that is in there because I'm just like, I don't even use it. I use the little salt grinder thing,
yeah.
but I have a whole thing of Morton salt
There
up
we
there.
go.
I'm like, if it comes, circle around myself, I'm okay. Around on the windows and everything, we'll be fine.
That's why we have 3 dogs. We're just gonna salt them up on their backs, let them run around the house. Like, you can't get anywhere. You can't cross these lines. We're good.
Like when I saw Paranormal Activity, like I couldn't sleep at the house by myself, so I was like, nope, I gotta go to a friend's. So he let me sleep with his cat and his rosary. So I was just like, I'm okay now, because like the cat demon would be like, get it, cat, and it won't come to me. And I got the thing, so I mean, it'll be the last line of defense. I'll be okay.
Dude, I don't want to ruin any like rosary stuff, but if you watch some of these new ones,
it means nothing. It means nothing.
They're like, this is a nice trinket, and it's tear it up in front of you. You're like, there's nothing I can do.
Or the cool ones, like when they're holding a cross and then like the cross just explodes, and you're like, well, how'd that happen?
Yeah, it's like I didn't read about this. I didn't see this on any other movies. It worked in The Exorcist. So what am I not doing right here? Oh,
exactly. Man. I'm blowing up.
Nice.
Oh, because Funimation be tweeting stuff.
Ooh, Funimation. They put the fun in animation.
They do.
They do.
You should be watching, everybody. No, it's I'm interested to see what they're gonna do, like since Disney has now acquired Fox. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do.
Jeez, I can't believe they approved that.
It's a stupid monopoly now. It's stupid big.
I think we're gonna hit on some of it today, because I know that like Gambit is scrapped, Kitty Pryde is scrapped, but there's still some because everybody loves Deadpool, they're still gonna do Deadpool. I think. X-Force.
But are they gonna keep Deadpool R?
They said they would, but we know how. Like, because again, Marvel got rid of James Gunn, and he went over and said, "Well, I'm doing Suicide Squad 2," and now they're like, "Hey, come back over here."
So now I'm wondering, I'm like, so is he still doing Suicide Squad 2?
Yeah, he's doing both.
So he's double directing.
Double dipping,
that's cool.
He lives in both worlds. And then he didn't even direct it, but he did something with that Burn Bright. Did you see that trailer? It's like
I saw the trailer. I didn't know what the heck that was. It looked cool, but I was like,
evil.
What are you doing with this type of thing?
Yeah.
So I think that may have been like hey, guess what? You kicked me out.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm
gonna
it's
do
my
this,
little project,
and then I'm gonna go do this with DC. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. If I was Disney, I'd be like, no, you're coming back over here.
Yeah, they love the money. They want the money, and then with everything that they've acquired,
I don't know how many people were gonna leave. I mean, Batista said he was gone, but like, who else would have?
I heard the whole cast was up in a roar, and I know Pratt and Batista were like, "Yeah, I'm done." If he doesn't come back, or if we don't at least use his script, that's what it was. I think.
Yeah, that's when they said they were going to use the script at least.
Mm-hmm.
But then,
now
they're like, oh no, he's
coming back.
So something probably happened, and they were like, yeah, no, we're going to use the script, but he's still not coming back. And then I'm sure somebody, or at least a few people were like, yeah, we're not doing it then.
And I like what they've said so far, because I think King Shark is on this new roster of the Suicide Squad, and then since Will has another prior engagement, Idris Elba stepped in.
Yeah, that's gonna.
So
be
I was like, dude, like he's doing something.
See, it's one of those like I don't know if he had another engagement or if he just didn't want to do it again. I think it may have been that he just didn't want to do it again.
I don't want to say that about Big Willie style. He's got to bring it back.
Well, see, that's my thing. Was like I like Will Smith, but still, at the same time, it's like he's getting older now. He's got to think about his legacy.
Yeah,
and I don't think like if he could go back and not do,
he'll probably not.
He would totally.
He's probably like, I'll do a Deadshot like standalone, but I don't want to do.
Which I mean, and that was my problem with Suicide Squad. It wasn't a Suicide Squad movie. It was a Deadshot and Harley Quinn movie with the Joker there for some reason. And that was the movie. And
now that Joker is apparently dead. We're not going to see.
Yeah, I guess we're getting Joaquin now.
Yeah,
is that still going on? Like, what's going on with that thing?
That's coming. I think that's coming out in October, but I think it's a because that's going to be a standalone, just like the Batman's a standalone. Like they're all in the same universe, but they're standalones. So even though we're getting this Batman, the next one for whatever Justice League team up could be a different one.
Yeah, I don't like what they're doing with Wonder Woman though. That's also kind of they're gonna put her in the 80s, and I'm like
1984. Yeah,
but why?
The invisible jet. That's why she needs to have the invisible jet.
Who is gonna give her an invisible jet?
Batman.
Okay, so who is she gonna meet with any other superheroes in 1984? Who's a superhero she could Booster Gold? Like who's she gonna get with? I'm really hoping Booster Gold is in this Shazam movie. I really want there to be a Booster Gold like at the very end of the movie. this dude just like Terminators in, and he's like, oh man, where am I now? And then, you know, like Shazam's just like sitting there with like a big gulp, like, yeah, you know, that would be fantastic. DC, there's still time.
There's still
Film
time. There's
cast somebody cool as Booster Gold. I don't know who you would cast as Booster Gold.
I wouldn't either. Like, I don't know.
Oh wait, so hold up. So you got Zachary Levi as Shazam, John Krasinski as Booster Gold. Since people get him confused all the time, just put John Krasinski.
It's like, why is he now Booster Gold? But that would work, because I was getting ready to lean towards. I saw an article about something. It was Hollywood celebrity stuff, so I really didn't pay attention to it. But it was Zac Efron. I was like, he could come in and be a goofy Booster Gold.
Oh, he's gonna be Fred in.
That's right.
In
Scooby-Doo, yeah. And who's
Amy
Daphne?
Ansel? Is that her name? I think
so.
Something along those lines.
Amy something. Yeah.
Yeah. Amy Schumer as Daphne.
Yeah. Amy, she's pregnant now.
She is?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's got a new comedy special, like Amy.
I saw the grown thing. I didn't know she was pregnant or anything. I was just like, all right, cool. I'll put that in.
It could be a fake belly. It worked on Arrested Development. So you never know. You never know. But yeah, I think DC, like, get the Flash, whatever you want to do. If you want to do Flashpoint, if you want to do something else, get that Flash film taken care of. Get a nice director, because I feel like Birds of Prey is going to be really good.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that they're talking about
the Vixen one too that they're doing.
Dude, I'm ready for that.
Sirens or whatever they're calling it.
Dude.
That'll be good.
That's gonna be like the female films and the girl gang films. I think are gonna do really well, because you get to expose different sides. You get to show more than one female aspect. Like Wonder Woman, she goes from, you know, kind of being held back by Themyscirians because they don't know, you know, what's going to happen. They don't want her out because it'll lead to this. And then she has to find her own confidence, and she figures out she inspires people. Well, if you have a cast of 3 or 4 different women, they all have different personalities, kind of like they did with Ocean's 8. Everyone's there for a different reason, but they show you a different type of woman in today's society. And they can show you a different type of woman as a superhero, because they're going to have to deal with that much more being a superhero and having to save lives and risk their lives. So I think those are going to be more compelling, because we've always got stories about males coming in and saving the day, and they're supposed to be strong. And then so the inverse of it, we show them at a weaker state. Do they get upset? Do they cry? Do they do this? But we've had that story told thousands and thousands of thousands of times. So let's change it up and get some of these films in, which when you think about it, it's like, well, I don't want like another big cast, big ensemble. But it works in the directive that the dynamics switch from conversation to conversation, whether they're in a single or both of them are in the same frame, or it's a battle or whatever. You get these different aspects that really right now I think we're getting like the best versions of those, either animated in anime or animated in whatever DC's putting out. So.
Yeah, I mean, I got high hopes for it. Before we kind of end, anything, any big anime or anything that you're watching right now? You in that academia type of thing? Because everybody's like losing their minds over that.
Yeah, they're getting ready to come out. They got a winter film coming out for My Hero Academia again, which I love. But really, it just captured me. I never thought I would be into another card game type anime since like Yu-Gi-Oh! Chihara Furu. So
Chihara Furu?
Chihara Furu is it's Karuta, which is a card game, and basically it's surrounding 100 poems. So these 100 poems, and I love history in its essence. When I was doing a lot more martial arts stuff, we'd have the Korean side and the Japanese, like the Okinawan side, and we learn the history behind the katas and the meaning. So each one of these cards has a verse of a poem. And there's different parts. You have your official readers, which sing or recite the first verse. And once they start the second verse, you have to pick out the card that goes with it. So they're reading the verse and you have to pick it out, but it's you and an opponent. We both set our cards up differently, and we have 15 minutes to memorize every card in the field, and it's basically reaction and reflexes. And the girl is Chihaya, and she is kind of overshadowed. Her sister's real beautiful. She's a model at a young age, so her parents don't really take notice of her. But she finds Karuta by this kid that he just transferred. You know, this out-of-town kid, transfer, doesn't have friends. He's kind of quiet. they end up playing.
It's the beginning to every show, Joe.
Exactly. Yeah. They end up playing at his house, and her goal, he's so good at that young age, her goal is just to take one card. And when she takes it, he notices that her hearing, because they, instead of having the actual reader there, they use a tape. Her hearing led to her, I guess she's kind of talented. And so I was only supposed to watch the first 4 episodes. I'm like episode 17 in season 2, and they're coming out with the 3rd one. But that one kind of captured me because there's so much hard work, physically and mentally, that goes into it. It just reminds me of any type of sport that I played, and it kind of gets me interested. Like when I was watching Go, I want to play that.
You learn how to play
shogi,
Go,
and then chess and checkers. So it's one of those that has a lot of, for me, a rewatchability to see what they're pinpointing on, because it's like, oh, I just need to touch the corner, and oh, I can do this wide, or I need to block this way. And it's like so many finite aspects. It's like, that's just like fighting. Somebody comes up with a back fist. There's like several different ways I could just raise my arm. If we're really fighting to wrap around, I could break their arm, I could trip them, or I could just block here, extend my back fist there. I could just sidestep, I could duck underneath with a hook or a smash. Or there's so many possibilities for one move. It makes you kind of elevate your thinking a little bit, but then you also have to go back to being simplistic and listen to your instincts. And so I love that back and forth. You have a guy that was super intelligent, didn't want to play the game, found value in it. A girl that likes traditional aspects, like, why are you guys not wearing your traditional garb? Like, we should still be representing the entirety of this game, because these poems represent different times and different stories throughout history, mainly based around love. So it's just really compelling. I didn't think I was going to get sucked into it. Every night I'm underneath the covers trying to turn the sound down so I don't wake up my wife, like, oh yeah, Shihara-Furu.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just doing the, I finished the Love, Death, and Robots.
Yeah, I got to get on that, because
I did that thing.
Told me about the nakedness in there.
Oh my goodness. It's like, whew, Lord of mercy. I get the vapors when I watch that movie.
The vapors.
Yeah, we also have our friend of the show, Christina, not Christina. Christina Wynn. She actually, her new webcomic on Webtoon is now available. It was one of those, she was getting featured, so she had probably maybe 15 chapters. Yeah. And so whenever they get featured, they have to pull those chapters.
Gotcha.
And then, go in, up the art, do a little bit more work on it, make it all nice and pretty, and then they release them. Yeah. And Cape of Spirits is now available. So everybody go read Cape of Spirits.
Cape of Spirits.
And Maddie Ince, her wonderful comic should be coming out any time again. And then Sherrod Jackson, creator of Darby, we're gonna have his. We've recorded an episode with him, and we're gonna put that on right before his season 3 starts.
Okay.
He's a cool dude. It's a web comic about dinosaurs. Yeah. And it is very violent.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And the dinosaurs they swear, and it's beautiful.
Oh, there we go.
It's fantastic.
The last time that I loved dinosaurs was probably I was gonna say Dinobots, but Beast Wars.
Beast Wars?
Yeah. Either Megatron was a T-Rex, and then you had the
Raptor dude. I forgot I don't remember the Raptor guy's name.
He switched sides. He
was like, I'm going to be over here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm really an Autobot. Or am I a Decepticon?
Exactly.
And then there was that white tiger who was just like, yeah, I'm not on anybody's side. I just live in the wilderness with my other tigers.
Hey, sometimes you just got to be out on your own, and don't get tangled up in what Optimus and Megatron are in.
Yeah, just like, these two stupid idiots are really doing stuff. We just crash landed, and I'm a tiger now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man. Other than that, I mean, we had the Toy Story 4 trailer drop.
That was, dude. Like, don't. You're starting to break my heart, because Woody's like, there's another world out here besides. There's another purpose. I could have my own purpose. I'm like, dude, that's a huge revelation for somebody that's been in service to somebody else forever.
My only problem is, like, he's gonna go back to the little girl thing.
Yeah.
That's my only problem. I'm like, I would love for him to just be like, you know what? Yeah,
screw that kid.
I want to. Well, maybe not screw the kid, but
we're gonna say screw that kid.
Screw that kid. I'm out. But no, like he kind of like, I would love for him to like look over and be like, you know what? She's taken care of.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Bo.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna happen. And that's the part.
If it does happen,
I would be very surprised.
Yeah. I will punch my wife. No, I won't punch her. I might.
I'll punch my wife. I'll marry someone, and I'll punch her, and I'll be like, hey,
I'll punch
Did
my
you believe
wife
that?
and my 3 dogs if Woody takes up on his own and has his own life.
Oh God!
It's a promise.
It's a promise.
It's a promise. They will not know what's coming.
No,
they
you just
never
be
know.
sitting in the theater. It'll happen, and you just be on the ground and be like, "Oh, dang!"
And then when we get home, Chewie, Kylo, and Vader, you're getting some too.
Oh man, no, yeah. See, it's one of those like I would love for that to happen. Yeah. Obviously, it won't. And I don't know what the heck's going on with Frozen 2.
I still haven't seen Frozen 1 yet, but that looks super dark. The trailer that they showed, I was like, dude, she's trying to run up the waves. It feels like to kill somebody. Like I think she's got some unfinished business.
She's like, yeah, it's one of those where it's like, it's the same thing that's really happened with the Toy Story movies, and it feels the same thing that the way that Incredibles 2 was as well. It's like the first 2 movies. The first movie, definitely a kid's movie. Second movie, you can argue kid's movie. Yeah. Third and fourth movie, these are not kids' movies. No, not anymore. These are completely different. Same thing with Incredibles. Incredibles 1, kid's movie. Incredibles 2, I'm like, maybe the parts with Jack, but that was about it. Yeah. Nothing else about that is a kid's movie.
Fighting that raccoon. That was
it. That was the kid movie moment. And then when he's with the one little small black-haired lady.
Oh yeah,
the designer chick, and he's like mimicking her. It's like that. Those are your 2 kid parts in the movie. The rest of it is just like that's none of that is people. She tried to kill people. I'm like, yeah, that's not really. So I don't know. Like same with Frozen. Like Frozen 1, kids movie. Frozen 2, I'm like, I don't think they're gonna do kids here. I don't think this is gonna be for chitlins. So I don't know what I really don't know what they're playing at. Yeah, but I mean we'll see it for the show. So.
It'd be nice. Because I was like, I need to go ahead and catch up on it because I hear the song. Like I had 2 students, and I know Mackenzie was the older. It was her little sister Sophia that loved the Frozen song, and Mackenzie's like, I'm getting tired of it. I was like, we all are, Mackenzie. We know this song by heart now because of your sister Sophia. So hopefully they make it into a kids movie. But
yeah, see, it's one of those like I don't know what's up with it. Like it's so weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Disney.
Oh well. So Elijah, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. It was. I finally got around to send you that message. Like, dude, I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready to come on the show. I've been doing push-ups, jumping jacks. I've been eating ramen every single day.
And I've been not doing any of those. Yeah.
I've been
maybe the ramen, but then that's about it.
Where are you getting your ramen? Are you?
Oh, like, Tamashi, man. Yeah, I'm. And like if I do have to be a scrub, like I'll get like a thing of ramen. But then I'll go and buy like the ramen broth at Sprouts, and then I'll put the ramen. And I'll make my own. Yes. And be like, because like I don't use those packets anymore. Just like it's like full of it's just salt. Yeah. So I'm like the broth. It's just like there you go. I'll just use a little bit of the broth. And what's really cool is like okay, so pro tip, everyone. Pro tip. This is a good way to make ramen. So learn this from Alton Brown. So you get you put some ramen in a foil. So it's just bit of ramen. Yeah. Then you put about half a cup, or it's either a cup or a cup and a half, of the broth in there. And you can usually just use chicken broth or whatever, but I use the ramen broth. And then it's like take some shrimp, put some shrimp in there. You can put some onions in there, put some peppers in there, and then just kind of hold it up. Put it in the oven for about 5 minutes. It steams it, gets everything. Take it out, pour it in a bowl. Delicious. Done. Yes. It's fantastic. It's like, wow, this is 1,000 times better than any of the homemade ramen that I've ever made. But no, I'll go to Tamashi. Yeah. Like on a drop of a dime. Yeah. I'll go over there, get me a queso, garlic fried rice, Japanese curry, tonkatsu. Is the Japanese curry good?
Dude, yes.
Is it? Okay, because like they didn't have it over at this one. Or the Midtown one. They took it off. I think is it just at the Edmond one now?
I don't know, because last time we went, which was about we went like 2 weeks ago, and they still had karage.
Really? Well, maybe because like the last time I went was the My Hero Academia night.
Oh yeah, we went after that. Yeah,
and it wasn't on the menu. Maybe they just took it off for that night. Maybe. Yeah. And they were just like, we're just gonna do because they were pushing a lot of the My Hero stuff, so maybe they just took it off.
There's some karage, spritz lime on it, and like the karage, the Japanese curry that they bring you is the rice curry. Karage, and I just throw the other one with the lime in there and mix it all up,
dude. That chow sudan, like that house sauce with that truffle mayo that they put on there, it's like you can bring me extra truffle mayo, I'll just put more of that truffle mayo just in there, just mix it all up. It's unhealthy.
It's okay.
Like, I mean, no, it's unhealthy how much I love it.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I was like,
I was gonna say, like,
you can give me like five of these like large portions, and I'll just like pour it all over my face, like bathe in it. Like I'll just live in that. It's so freaking good.
I would say that's disrespectful, but that shit is good.
Yeah,
So.
right. Oh man. So where can everybody find you, man?
If you go to blackenstudios.com, you can find all of my podcasts there. Simple way. I say the simple way. Instagram, it's all spelled out Elijah_5_1000. And then Facebook, it's Elijah. I think it's Elijah 5000 Bailey. And you can find me there. And it has like any podcasts that come out, any events or things I'm doing, my list. Like I was like, Friday, I was like, okay, this is the list I need to do. I need to stream today. I'm going to stream Saturday. I got an 8 o'clock show for a little bit of anime, and then I'll be on Anime Station 10 o'clock, then 11, and then the Elijah Bailey show at 2, so you can find all my stuff there. If you want to follow the shows, just type in like the Elijah Bailey show, a little bit of anime, or Superpower Movie Podcast, and Google or Yahoo, and it'll pull up any social media that we're at: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. It'll pull it all up for you.
Nice. And we'll put all of those in the show notes. So if you want to find a quick link to it, just click on the show notes. We'll put all those links there, so you can just click on them and take you right there. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh L. Kane. You can find the podcast on Instagram at Animation Station Podcast and Twitter at Animate Podcast. We also have the Facebook and the Tumblr group, Animation Station Podcast. Don't really use those for any reason, just because they're there. So, you know. But we're also available on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, anywhere that you can download a podcast, and on our website, animationstationpodcast.com. Thanks so much, man. Let's go do Seven Deadly Sins next.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, so for the Animation Station Podcast, I'm Josh.
I'm Elijah Bailey.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.